I love how people are gonna see like the title for this episode, NIA episode 73, summer content recommendations. Like, oh, sweet, some
Yeah, yeah.
light reading on the beach.
Oh yeah, completely.
Butcher comes out with Buckminster Fuller, and then you
Change
gotta
your
whack
life,
it
son.
all with some Alan Watts.
That's beautiful. Yeah, this is for the polymath crowd. Mine was
Yeah.
the all vibes, no facts crowd. This was the polymath crowd, which to be fair is pretty much everyone listening. So I hope our audience is a bit of both. You get the polymath vibe, but you also get a little. Let's get wild with
It's
it.
all contrast, man. Without contrast, we cannot see, right, boys?
Oh my God.
Look at it, Jack. This is Jack just pulling him out right now.
Butcher? Is that
Nah, that's not me. Nah. That's like Confucius or something. That's
no?
an
Is
old
that
one,
is that
boys. That's a Lindy
Buckminster,
one.
Alan Watts, or Jack Butcher? No, let's do a quiz.
It's all repackaging.
Welcome to another episode of Not Investment Advice. We've got the NIA boys here today. Jack Butcher, Trung Phan, Bilal Zaidi. This is the summer recommendations episode, boys. We did this last year, right? People, I think, liked it enough. And we also, in full transparency, needed an evergreen episode because we're
doing a lot of
traveling and doing some stuff. So we want to make sure we've got an episode for you guys each week. We're going to do one watch, one read, one listen each of different things we've been consuming and recommend.
So for you polymathic geniuses, that'll be 9 content recommendations.
There we go. Exactly. 3 times 3. There we go. Did that without Chat GPT this time. All right, let's start with watch because as Trung said, let's not pretend we're all reading 72 books a year, though. Trung, you're probably getting close.
I've had a bad year on books, actually. I've been back to just article guy.
That's all right. Oh, so that because my one's going to be probably an old blog post as well. So should we go watch first just because it's very tangible?
Yeah.
I'm going to say mine first real quick just because I don't want Jack to steal it in case he's going to say the same one.
Oh, you got.
No, I'm going to say The Gentleman, the TV series on Netflix. I know we've talked about it before probably. It's probably my favorite show for a long, long time.
What is it?
It's the Guy Ritchie series. So he did a movie called The Gentleman. Guy Ritchie, the guy who did Snatch, Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels, Married to Madonna, legend, like incredible, dude. The Gentleman is actually a fun movie too. Is a pretty good film with, is it Colin Farrell in it? I've forgotten. There's a few really famous people in it.
Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey's in it, yeah, and that's worth watching too, honestly. But they
good flick.
Also made a Netflix series. I think it's like 10 episodes, or 8 or 10 episodes, and it's very, very good. It was my favorite show for sure this year. And it's just funny that, if you've watched any of his films, they're kind of funny. They're kind of these crime related things, but it's not scary or it's just like fun. And the character development,
Ritchie vibes.
Yeah, the character development's great. The soundtrack's normally banging. The dialogue is phenomenal, and it keeps you engaged with actual stuff. And there's just so many epic moments in it. Like there's I don't want to ruin it, but if you Google it, you'll probably see a picture of a guy in a chicken suit. Like that already is just like an epic kind of thought for me. So that's my one. I'll pass it over to you guys.
I love that you scooped Butcher.
Just in case, because I
knew
don't
he was
have.
going to do it. Yeah,
because I get front run you there. Sorry, Jack. In case, but I feel like you have some others. I haven't watched too many recently.
Anytime we bring up Guy Ritchie, we got to talk about. Let me tee up Jack. Jack, what did Guy Ritchie say on the Joe Rogan podcast? Here's a mini content record. What did he say?
Oh yeah.
You should go watch that clip.
There's a 15-minute.
You gotta be master of your own universe, mate. Take your destiny into your own hands.
That's why he wears a suit. That's why he wears a suit, right?
Every decision you make. It's a really well articulated thought that he puts forth on the Rogan show there, trying to convince him to not dress like a teenager in his little t-shirt and jeans.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, is that what it was? That was the discussion point about.
And that's what tees off the thing. He's like, "Why'd you wear a suit?" And he's like, "Because it matters. Like, everything you do, how you present yourself, how you think about yourself, and what you do."
I think I've even watched it. I just can't remember because it was a long time ago that came out.
It's very good. It's very good. He uses the Like,
Oh no,
I think
every story is the same. He's like every story is about somebody.
Yeah.
Do you remember exactly what that bit was?
It was,
It was a great
wasn't it
piece.
like Cain and Abel that he was it the story that he referenced, or like
He was talking about
King
yeah,
Arthur
yeah. I think it's King
pulled
Arthur.
the sword from the stone. I'm not going to do it anywhere near the justice that he does, but we should put it in the notes. So he talks about the cycle of redemption of a young man, you know,
and he integrates it into wearing a suit. And this is why he made Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. This is why he made Snatch, and this is why he married Madonna. Like, this guy can spin a tale.
Yeah. No, man, right. His, like, I feel like you guys watched The Revenant as well. Have you seen that? That was one of his.
Leo? Is that Leo? Wait,
no,
did he do
Revenant.
that?
What's it called? Oh. Covenant. Sorry, The Covenant.
No,
I don't think I've seen that. No.
What's that? It's like, I think it's Jake Gyllenhaal. Am I saying it right? Fucking hell. It's like
I see 2023
military.
Guy Ritchie's
The Covenant. I watched it on a plane. It was good. It's heavy, but it's really good.
Is it also funny? Is it in the same style or it's not? It's different.
No.
Okay, got it.
You ain't gonna be laughing, boys.
Okay. It's a different vibe.
But it's a good movie. It's a good movie.
Cool. And so did I scoop
he is
your
like
one,
master
Jack?
of the craft. It gives you it gives you way more like appreciation for his work too.
Oh,
when you
yeah,
see
because
how
it's not just
deeply
the
he thinks
same
about
thing.
Crafting a story. It's
like
cool.
when an actor plays the exact same thing each time. You're like, oh, I like Russell Brand playing himself in 2-3 films, but then does he do anything else? And then you're like, actually, he can.
Can he do it on a rainy night in Stoke?
In Stoke, yeah. That's great.
All right, Butcher, you hit it. What's your content, Reco?
The watch.
My watch. I'm going with Clarkson's Farm, boys. Have you seen it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jeremy Clarkson.
Jeremy Clarkson.
Interesting.
I haven't watched it, but I think you might mention it. Yeah, that looks pretty interesting.
It's like
what is it?
Big nostalgia for me, just because it's like not far from where I grew up. It's probably like 30, 40 miles away from where I grew up. So a lot of the characters in there remind me of people who like.
What's the premise?
Where I grew up. So when COVID happened, all their filming got shut down, right? Couldn't do the Grand Tour, Top Gear, whatever he was doing at the time. And he owned a farm in the Cotswolds, which is a very scenic, beautiful area of rural British countryside. And he took over the management of the farm. So he's like, I'm not doing anything else. So I'm going to the guy, he's like on that Ramsey level of like TV personality where he sort of turns stuff into very compelling stories. And the whole thing basically follows him around taking over the management of this farm, like hiring people, like planting crops, the P&L of the farm. It gives you like insight into how
that's sick.
Like the farming industry works and like how difficult it is to make a living as a farmer, all the government regulations that he has to abide by and stuff. And he's just like, you know, he's a incredibly entertaining bloke. And he's got this like this local lad that works for him that's become like a mega star off the back of being in this thing. It's 3 seasons now.
Oh, wow.
We just found it randomly.
Is it? Do you know what it's on? Is it on Amazon Prime or something?
It's on Prime, yeah.
Oh, sick.
Well, because he had
not
a
to
huge
spoil
deal
anything
with Prime. He had a with Top.
Yeah.
For people who don't know,
Top
like
Gear
Jeremy
was
Clarkson is massive. I think they paid him
huge.
$50 million a year to do Top Gear.
Top Gear must have been one of the top 10 shows of all time or something.
It's called Grand Tour now, right? He left Top Gear. That's a BBC franchise, and Prime poached him for the Grand Tour.
But he's massive, right? Because I don't think people
that.
understand. Like, I'm like, as a Canadian,
he's huge.
He's massive.
He's huge.
Because even outside of the UK,
sexiest man in Britain. Do you know that?
Oh yeah, that's hilarious though. Yeah.
Wait, what?
This is
what's
recent one. No, he
got voted sexiest man in Britain of last year or something.
In what publication? Daily Mail?
I have no idea.
Let me look at this because this is because he beat what's his name, the Irish guy. Who's the guy in Peaky Blinders?
Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's quite funny when you see the two next to each other. And then this is the Telegraph. Of course, Jeremy Clarkson is sexier than Idris Elba. I'm like, okay, let's see your pitch here, boys. But this is pretty funny. Yeah, not Prince William, Cillian Murphy, or Tom Holland.
It's fun. It's fun.
All right, that's a good one. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Trung, what's your one, mate? Something to watch for our listeners here.
I mean, it's so funny because over the past years, I've heard you guys mention all these British shows. You're such homers, and I appreciate that. I'm gonna go something not fully Homer, but I mean, it's the Hollywood product with the most Vietnamese spoken words ever. It's a Sympathizer. It's an HBO series, 7 episodes. It's based on the Pulitzer Prize winning book by Viet Thanh Nguyen in 2016. It's about a Vietnamese communist spy that goes to America, and it's a good story. It didn't do super well in the ratings, but it. So the thing about Vietnam and Hollywood, so let me give you guys some context. What do you guys know? Vietnamese Hollywood films, like which ones would come off the top of your head? Platoon,
I don't know.
Apocalypse Now.
Oh, Platoon. Yeah, if you say them, I'll be like, oh, I didn't realize that.
Deer
yeah.
Hunter. So people know it's like some of the most.
Platoon is a phenomenal film, by the way.
It's really good. One Best Picture, Oliver Stone. Deer Hunter. Also,
David Goggins' favorite film, by the way.
Yeah, David Goggins' favorite film.
Because I listened to him at the gym.
So here's a mini content recommendation. Google David Goggins Platoon, and he says like there's an image in one of those films that's like in his head when he's running.
That's it. That's it.
The Apocalypse Now, Francis Ford Coppola. So about all these films, right? Understandably, Hollywood made a bunch of Vietnam War films. The Vietnam War ended in 1975, or the last American chopper left Saigon, famous picture with the chopper on top of the embassy. And the problem with a lot of Vietnamese war films is that there are no Vietnamese speakers, like literally none. And if the Vietnamese are speaking, they're getting raped or murdered. Like that's just the story, right? That's just, I don't have super strong feelings about that in the sense of like, listen, it's Hollywood. That's probably what's going to happen, right? It's going to be a very Western-centric take. But Viet Thanh Nguyen, the author of this book, The Sympathizer, he's I think he's a professor at UC Davis or one of the California schools. And his whole point was just to demonstrate how one of his meta points was that a lot of these Vietnamese war stories are not conveyed at all with the Vietnamese perspective. So that's what this book and this TV show does. Now, I'll give you guys an interesting aspect about this story. Robert Downey Jr. plays every main white character for this show. So he plays about 4 white characters: a CIA agent, a Hollywood producer, a congressman, and a professor. And it's super interesting how they do that. So it's like they got star power with Robert Downey Jr. to do it, but it's like a pretty kind of it's a dramedy type story. But I would highly recommend that. So that's what I throw out there.
Nice. All right, I haven't watched either of those. I'll definitely check it out. Should we go read next? Something to read for our listeners.
You said an article.
Yeah, I can do that. It doesn't have to be a book, and I should give one of you guys to go first if you want. I can go if you want, but Jack, you got one that you want to add in?
You go first.
All right, I'll say so. This is a
passage from mine.
Cool. And this one actually answers. We had an AMA question ages ago from Elena, who said, "How did you know your spouse was the one?" That was a quite broad, open question, which we never ended up answering.
We might have to do that in another. Oh, you're going to answer that? Okay.
No, we can definitely do that as an AMA question another time. But I was going to say separate. I was going to actually share this anyway. This is an old blog post from Wait But Why, Tim Urban. It's called How to Pick Your Life Partner, and it's part 1, part 2. Have you heard of this one or read it before?
I have not read this.
I know you've read a lot of Tim's stuff. Yeah, he's great. And I'll just quickly share for people.
Wait, he was on your podcast, right?
He was on a pod, yeah. And that's the one we actually collaborated on for The Hustle when you were working there. I'm just going to share my screen for a second. Just for people who've never read his stuff, you've probably heard of Wait But Why, but if you haven't, he does a lot of this sort of stuff. He does these funny little sketches. They're long reads. He had these really amazing, all of these are worth reading. The one he did on SpaceX was amazing. A lot of the Elon stuff was really, really good. But he does these kind of funny long reads, and he's got a really unique writing style. But to that question, how did you know your spouse was the one? I didn't actually read this until a few years ago. I think actually Polina Maranova, who's Pomp's wife, had recommended it in a pod we did together, and I read it, and I was like, oh damn, this. She says she reads it every Valentine's Day, and I was like, oh, that's kind of a nice little ritual. So I read it, and I was like, damn, this is really, really good. It's like a lot of things I've already thought about but distilled in a really beautiful way. Because obviously there's not a right or wrong answer to a lot of this stuff, but he does bring up a lot of ideas. And I'll just share one that I've always referenced, again, even before I read it in his, is this idea of a random Tuesday. Have you guys heard of that before?
No, say more.
So it's like, if you think about when you're in a relationship, if you think about, a lot of people think of weddings and holidays and these big moments, and you're like, oh, what's it like in this perfect moment with my girlfriend, wife, husband, or whatever? But really, what relationships are random Tuesdays. They're waking up when you're a little bit groggy, or you got to rush to work, or you got to pick up the kids, and you're running into the bathroom, you're brushing your teeth, you're bumping into each other. Like, a lot of your life is basically just these mundane, normal moments. And that kind of filter of what's it like being with that person? Do you feel comfortable? Do you enter? Like, for me, I'll just say, like, we have fun just doing normal stuff. Like, we're messing around, we're dancing around the house, we're playing music, we're being silly, whatever. That for me is a random Tuesday. It's like, in those moments, I'm very much like, oh, this is a amazing relationship I have with this person. That isn't the big splashy moment of, oh, what was this person like in this on my wedding day, or all those bigger moments. And so I just like that idea. He can definitely explain it way better than I did just there. But those kind of like micro moments throughout your life are really what is most of your life, is those little moments. So I did like that idea, and he's got a bunch of others in there as well. And I think a lot of it, honestly, to answer Elena's question, is there's an 80-20 of all this. Like, no one's perfect, and a lot of long-term relationship is finding people that you can accept their flaws, and they can accept your flaws as well, and not looking for perfection is really something that a lot of people struggle with. So anyway, that's the one I'll recommend. And then secondly, as a bonus one, quick one, if you're interested in football, you're missing it like I am, I recently read Ian Wright's A Life in Football. It's an autobiography. He's a England Arsenal striker, but really famous guy in the UK, and he's such a fun personality. He's like very lovable guy. And I actually listened to that one as well as an audiobook that he read. And it's just a fun throwback to a different time of football. So I really enjoyed that one as well.
Dude, these are, man, you guys hit so much UK content. I love it. Wait, hold on. So the big idea from the Wait But Why is the random Tuesday.
I think that was, I don't know if it's the big idea, but it's one that has always stuck with me.
That's a good one. That's good.
Yeah.
I'm going to read that.
Yeah, check it out. Jack, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm going to give one that I haven't even finished yet, but talk about polymaths, boys, polymathic geniuses. You know who Buckminster Fuller is?
Oh, dude, you brought him up on this podcast a number of times.
I love this guy.
Yeah.
Inventor, designer, architect, engineer, polymath. So he wrote a book called
Actual Polymath, yeah.
Yeah, a legit polymath. He wrote a book called 9 Chains to the Moon. And the title is basically a reference to if everybody in the world stood on each other's shoulders, you'd make 9 loops to the moon and back. It's like
that's a wild
8 billion
visual,
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not even that. I think he wrote it in 1938, so I don't know what the population was then. But like, you read this book, and there's like the things that he's writing about and predicting. Like, he's predicting like Robin Hood in 1938, like electronic fractional stock trading applications.
You mean the application, not the idea, the story of Robin Hood? Just
no. I mean,
that predated him.
You mean shitcoin buying on there? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it just unbelievable visionary bloke. I think, like, I don't know how seriously he was taken during his lifetime, and like the ideas in this book are like, wow, this guy is like way ahead of his time. And yeah, it's like difficult to read just because like the complexity of the language is pretty significant, but it's like an amazing read. So that's my
wait, Jack. I'll ask you. I have a question for you. You have a quote that you love from Buckminster that you've said in the past. You've mentioned it a number of times. Won't you think off the top of your dome, and then I'll mention a thing about what you said about Buckminster. Marshall McLuhan's the same. And if your description of Buckminster sounds to me like Marshall McLuhan in the sense of, for people who don't know, Marshall McLuhan is a Canadian academic who came up with the term as the medium is the message. He's a media theorist, but his work is so dense. Like trying to read Marshall McLuhan is, you'll read one page 20 times. You know what I mean? That's what it sounded like when you talk about Buckminster. I mean, these ideas will hit you like a bag of bricks, but it takes a while to understand them.
I think his best, I don't know if this is the one you're referencing, but he says, you never change things you never change things by fighting the existing reality. You have to build a model that makes the old thing obsolete.
God
one
damn.
of my favorite ideas of his.
Very good.
What else has he said?
Hold on, let me pick. Yeah, let's pick up a couple more before I hit mine.
There is nothing in a caterpillar that tells you it's going to be a butterfly. That's another great one.
Oh, that's
A little more poetic for you.
That feels like it could be a visualized visual if you haven't already done one.
I've done that one. Yeah.
That's good. Very good.
People never leave a sinking ship until they see the lights of another ship approaching. That's a banger. I haven't read that one before. That is a banger.
That's a good one.
Yo, he's got some. He's got some bars.
You're gonna visualize that right now.
Here's one for anybody who listened to last week's episode. You cannot question an assumption you do not know you have made.
This is legit.
I might not even give a reading reco for people just to chew on what Jack is saying.
That was good. No, that's a banger. That's an absolute banger.
I mean, just like I read this stuff, and this is me admitting my ignorance to so much of the stuff that has been written down over the years. But most of the time, you pick up a decent book, you're like, "What am I doing with my life?" This guy wrote that book, and it's like that's one of maybe 20 books he published. It's just like absolutely phenomenal level of focus required to produce these things.
Isn't that the thing
and
with
convey
books,
these
though?
ideas?
Jack, you know what you just said there about when you pick up a book? I love your guys' take on this, because there's a thing of you can't say out loud that reading is not a waste of time, because it's obviously not. But if you question reading, people get really angry. It's like saying you don't like dogs or something. Like people get pissed. And so what my thing with reading is incredible, obviously, but there's a lot of shit books too, is kind of the summary.
Most like as a PR exercise. Yeah.
And I think a lot of the time people get very much like, oh, if you don't read, you're not a smart person, all this sort of stuff, which I understand what they're trying to say. But also chill out, you know what I mean? Like it's not that deep, you know. There's a lot of shit books that should have been a Twitter thread. And so that's why I think people get a little bit antsy on it. But there's also timeless wisdom in stuff like this. So you just got to find the right books. I do like that thing from Naval where he talks about rereading the old stuff over and over again versus just always looking for the new book. Because there's some of these books that I was thinking of looking at my Goodreads of things I've read. And I was like, I've read that several times because it's that good. You just want to keep going back to it.
Oh, yeah.
Trung, what about you, mate? Jack, those were great. Trung, what's your reading recommendation?
The Idea Factory, the story about Bell Labs, a couple episodes ago. We talked about Pixar, but this book is great. John Gertner. It's about the history behind Bell Labs. The thing I didn't realize, so Bell Labs, the research that came out of it, information theory, Claude Shannon, it seeded, what was it called? The semiconductor industry, everything to do with like optic fibers for, I guess, internet, telecommunications, lasers, the stuff that came out of Bell Labs, insane, right? But the thing that really blew my mind was, you talk about late 19th century, what it took to lay fiber, or not fiber, like the lines for telephones to do like cross Atlantic. It was like they compared it to the book like Us Going to Mars. Like that's on par with the difficulty at the time. Think about you laying down a piece of wire across the ocean, right? With you have to put the right type of rubber around it so that it doesn't get degraded in salt water. You have to have amplifiers all the way across so the message doesn't die before it gets to the other continent, right? It's like understanding how difficult the challenge of just making the telephone system was. It's mind-boggling. So that's my reco.
Love it. That's great. That's a great shout. Let's do Listen. And I will say on Listen, this could be obviously a podcast, but it could also be an audiobook. That was really good as an audiobook, or it could be honestly music as well. Or if you've got one for each, we can do that. We'll wrap her up on this one. Any of you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Hit it.
Should I go? All right, cool. I will go. I'm going to do one of each since I've thought about it now. Audio book. I might have mentioned this in the past, but I listened to Anthony Bourdain's Kitchen Confidential. I read it many, many years ago, and then I listened to it because it's him and it's his voice, and he's such a great, such a recognizable voice. And I'm sure most of you listening know who he is, but some people don't. He was a chef, but also did Parts Unknown, this amazing documentary where he goes all over the world and just travels. And yeah, if you want to see like cities and places in a new light, he was the king of finding those moments. Actually, one of my favorite moments on that show is in Vietnam. Have you seen that episode, Trung? Was with Obama?
Yeah. Dude, he says his favorite country to eat food is Vietnam.
Oh yeah, I mean, phenomenal. But there's this epic picture of him and Obama there in this kind of small little shack place, having like a bowl of pho or something.
Noodle shop, it's a noodle shop. I know exactly. It's in Hanoi. I've never been, but I know exactly.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's a good place or not, whatever. But it's just he captures storytelling. His storytelling so good, and specifically Kitchen Confidential. I really enjoyed like hearing it because the stories are coming to life. Because a lot of audiobooks I don't actually love like listening to, because it has to be the right person reading it, and so
or the author, like
or
Goggins.
The author. Yeah, like God. And the thing with Goggins, he has someone else reading it, but he does his interludes in the middle.
It's the podcast, right? They do the podcast in the
middle.
format.
Yeah. I wanted it to be Goggins the whole way through, but that would be, you'd just be going wild with that one. So that's real quick audiobook. Podcast is a hard one, but I would say Theo Von, I feel like just keeps killing it. He's such a unique comedic mind. You've probably seen his clips all over the internet if you haven't listened to a full episode. The one I'll call out, there's 2 episodes I'll recommend. One is just, I was trying to find one, just like an easy one. The one he did with Drewski, for some reason, I've just really found funny, who's a comedian as well. But there's one he does with, have you guys ever heard the ones he does with regular people? So they're not like famous people. He does one with like a garbage man, and he does it with like just people. It's like,
wait, who?
This is Theo Von. So Theo Von will do a long podcast episode with just regular people doing regular jobs. And he did one recently. Regular dude. Yeah, he did one with this lady who's a dinner lady or a lunch lady. We call it dinner lady. I think here, lunch lady. You know, the people that give your kids food at school. And she's just a regular person, and she's got this infectious laugh. So if you don't like her loud laugh, you might not be able to listen to it. But she's just got this ball of energy laugh. And as someone who obviously listens to a lot of podcasts and does 2 of them, I just love the idea of capturing a podcast with like a regular person and a world-class comedian. It's just a really cool format, and he does a good job there. And the last recommendation is music. I'll say Loyal Kana, who again, another UK cat. Loyal Kana is an amazing lyricist, rapper from the UK. But he did an album called Hugo Reimagined, live from the Royal Albert Hall. And Royal Albert Hall is a beautiful, one of the nicest locations in the UK venues you could find. I actually graduated from there. It's like a beautiful, beautiful place. And they often have like musicians in there doing stuff with you. So it's just kind of a cool experience. So go check out that Loyal Kana as well. He's one of my favorites. All right. Anything from you boys? That was comprehensive, not going to lie.
This is listens. This is listens.
Jack, yeah, listens. It could be one or whatever.
I'm a bit light on music this year, boys.
You listen to the same stuff.
Yeah. You've been listening
to What did we
Drizzy.
do last year? Dave.
Oh, yeah.
Dave album. I don't think that's been topped for me. That album.
Yeah, that's true. No, it probably hasn't been. For me,
it hasn't. But there's one Alan Watts lecture I always listen to. I got to give.
Oh,
you
shouted out Alan Watts in the past.
Man, there's this one. I think it's on Spotify. If you search, like, I think it's called Trust the Universe or something. It's incredible. It's like 70-minute long lecture.
Sam Harris brought it back, yeah?
I don't know where like the resurgence came from, but even like Buckminster Fuller, that like area of authors and thinkers always referencing each other. I think they like overlap slightly. I think like Buckminster Fuller would have been older dude when they met, but just like sometimes I'll probably listen to that like 30, 40 times when I'm going to bed.
Oh, wow.
Just whack it on. Little, what do they call that? The little subconscious.
Oh, wow.
Did
Yeah,
you
we
just
need
say
to try
whack
this
it
one
on?
out. Yeah, whack it on to listen to. But Jack, what's it called? Do you know the name of it? Because he's got so many on YouTube.
I think it was called Just Trust the Universe, but I'll try and find it.
I'll look it up. Yeah.
I love this.
There's just this very specific bit in it where he talks about delegation. Anyway, I won't spoil it because another very articulate.
Oh yeah, I think I found it. Is it like 10 minutes long?
Nah, it should be an hour.
An hour. Oh, there's one on Philosopher's Key on YouTube. Alan Watts, Trust the Universe, hour and 11 minutes.
That's the one. So look that one up. If you listen to
Rafa, we can put it in the notes.
Let us know in the comments what you think. But I think that is like, of all the stuff that he's recorded, that's like, just, you could listen to it 100 times. Every time you listen to it, you'll like spot it, or you'll like key
I
into
love
a different part of it.
that Jack whacks it on.
Yeah. I also love Jack's been coming with some heavy hitters on the.
I'm trying to deliver.
Very good.
I'm trying to deliver some Lindy records.
I was gonna say this definitely beats Theo Von with a dinner lady, bro. It's
no,
ridiculous.
But Bilal, you're so funny.
It's a barbell content strategy.
I was gonna say it's literally one is to turn your mind off completely and hear him chat.
Well, weirdly, like I guess I like weirdly I have the opposite experience with the audio specifically, where it's like you're not like, you don't even have to like fully lock into it to get some of the wisdom out.
No, that's I love that sort of stuff. I'll definitely listen. I might listen to it tonight too.
It.
Or whack it on. You know what I mean? Trung, sorry, Trung, you were
I was going to say something funny. I love how people are going to see like the title for this episode, NIA episode 73. Summer content recommendations. Like, oh, sweet. Some light reading on the beach.
Oh, yeah, completely.
Butcher comes out with Buckminster Fuller, and then you gotta whack it on with some Alan Watts.
That's beautiful. Yeah, this is for the polymath crowd. Mine was the all vibes, no facts crowd. This was the polymath crowd, which, to be fair, is pretty much everyone listening. So I hope our audience is a bit of both. You get the polymath vibe, but you also get a little. Let's get wild with it.
It's all contrast, man. Without contrast, we cannot see, right, boys?
Oh my God!
Look at it, Jack. This is Jack just pulling him out right now.
Butcher? Is that
Nah, that's not me. Nah. That's like Confucius or something. That's
is that
that's a Lindy one.
Alan Watts or Jack Butcher? No, let's do a quiz.
It's all repackaging. Yeah, we should do it. You know what? We should do a quote quiz, boys. We should pull some together and have a little quiz.
That could be a good episode, actually. Good evergreen episode. We may need one of those.
Yeah.
ChatGPT. Yeah, that would actually be funny to get ChatGPT to say make up quotes.
The misattribution is crazy, man. Like you ask for anything, and it's like you have to do your diligence on that.
Oh, so
just make it up, as we know.
Yo, this is I love. Okay, before I give my last thing, we can wrap up. I just want to laugh at the joke Bilal made. Bilal's like, "Hey man, Bilal sandwiched between Buckminster Fuller."
Theo Von with a lunch lady. I feel so dumb for even saying it now.
Hey boys, I did give the Clarkson's farm.
No, respect. You've had great recommendation. I'm just saying it's funny as hell that I'm literally saying, listen, Theo Von in those episodes is on the scale. Like he's going off.
Theo Von is the Buckminster Fuller of 2024.
That's true, actually.
No doubt.
No, for real though.
That's honestly true.
But actually, the one with Drewski, especially because he's just trying to sound real urban, which is the way he says it, is so funny to me. Like the way he's trying to just
He's unbelievably funny guy.
So funny guy. He must live right near you, I think, right? Around the corner.
He's round here somewhere, yeah.
Why?
I think
Let's
he's
not- let's
I think
not
he's
be
blowing up,
doxing.
man. He's going Hollywood, that guy.
Yeah,
No
dude.
Oh,
doubt.
completely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, whether
100%.
or not he's Hollywood at this point, if he's staying in Nashville, he's got that deep security. He's got that Secret Service level stuff.
Oh my god, he must do. Yeah, yeah. Him and was it Kid Rock is over there as well? Kid Rock.
Oh, yeah,
Actually,
with
Kid
the
Rock
big
is on
White
his
House.
show. That one was quite funny as well because Kid Rock's off the rails too. He's got his own. Anyway, go on, Trung. Your go. Listen,
I'll do
that
this
was a
super
great
quick.
rec, Jack.
That was great, man. Dude, these rec episodes, I know for a fact that our polymathic genius listeners love these type of episodes.
Oh yeah, no, this is.
'Cause
I'm enjoying it.
They're
Yeah.
not going to jump on anything we recommended. They're going to be like, "This is the dumbest thing ever," but I'm so entertained. No, we got some gems here. I'll go with the listen first. I don't watch Bridgerton. Do either of you guys watch Bridgerton?
I don't, but Melina's been smashing it out. Loves
Yeah,
it.
so I mean, there's a lot of smashing going on in that show
Oh,
because I
that's
also
true.
have to listen to or what my wife watches it too. I don't watch it. There's a lot of banging on the show. That's just a fact. So this is Shonda Rhimes production. But let me tell you guys my recommendations because people are like, "Oh, Trung, this is the audio section. You already did a video. Oh, quit giving me another video." The audio is this. The soundtrack for Bridgerton. It's an orchestral. It's an orchestra that does pop music. So the orchestra will do like Diamonds from Rihanna. They'll do Blank Space from Taylor Swift. They'll do Give Me Everything from Pitbull. Google Bridgerton, Give Me Everything. It's a dude on a violin playing the Give Me Everything song Pitbull. Pitbull tweeted it out after the episode. And anyways, the whole point is that you
Pitbull,
wanna
like
hear-
the
the
rapper.
orchestral version. Yeah. Pitbull, the
Pitbull,
artist.
legend.
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr.
Worldwide. Yeah.
Mr. Worldwide, half motivational speaker, half
Yeah, exactly.
rapper. Yeah.
Exactly. If you're not living right, you picture that with a code.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got some bars, man. Go on. Trung.
Podcast. Recco, we'll wrap it up with this. We'll do some light stuff since Jack went too heavy. Go listen to the
Jack
real.
went too heavy.
Here's a light
No.
podcast. Here's a light podcast summer recommendation for your drives with your kids, listeners. It's called Real Dictators. It's about Mao, Stalin, Hitler, Mussolini.
There we go.
It just does mini series on the most savage human beings ever, but it's so well done, and it's done by somebody you guys will know. Do you guys know the show Doctor Who?
Yeah.
You guys remember Doctor Who? The BBC. Do you guys remember
Yeah,
Paul
classic.
McGann? Paul McGann, the actor.
I haven't actually watched it, but I know I've watched like one episode.
Paul
but yeah.
McGann is the BBC actor. He voices this podcast. It's highly produced. And he's just got one of those voices where you're like, oh, this is authoritative. But it's about serious stuff. But the reason why I bring it up though is like when you listen to these podcasts about Mao and Stalin, like people need to ground themselves in history because everything is hyperbolized in the modern Twitter age. And then you actually look at some of the worst human beings ever, and you're like, okay, here's some perspective. Let's not just assign everything the most hyperbolic thing we could possibly do. But it's also, we know what's coming. Keep your eyes open, people. You need to see what's out there. So, anyways,
100%. All right, that's a good one. Have you listened to the new Hardcore History that came out fairly recently?
Oh, no, I haven't.
He
I'm gonna
doesn't do
download
them.
it now.
I haven't either. But he does them once every like 6 months or something. And there's in a similar
I did
vein.
not know that there was a
Very
new one.
interesting
What's it
stuff.
about?
I can't even remember. I just remember it coming up on my feed. So we'll have to check that one out.
I'm
all
checking right
boys,
now.
That was the 3.
Nine
actually,
total.
I'm just going to do a real quick bonus because just to wrap it up here, you mentioned soundtrack. I think that's actually
Yes.
kind of fun. Have you got a favorite soundtrack from a film? Even a quick answer, because I think there's I'm not saying objectively what's the best, because that's like, I'm just saying one you actually could listen to. I
Yeah,
have one in
absolutely.
mind. Go on, what's
You hit
yours?
it.
You sure?
All
right.
I'll tell you what mine is.
Go on.
I'll
You
tell
say
mine.
yours first.
Um,
I'm from Lion King.
anything Christopher Nolan.
Oh yeah.
Interstellar. I mean, I'm sure all you guys have thrown Interstellar and been extremely productive for 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, completely. All right, that's a good one. I was gonna say Drive. Do you remember Drive? That film with Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling, yeah.
But the
Goes hard?
soundtrack was absolutely sick. Oh my god,
okay.
so good. And then quick bonus one: Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels. I think is either that or Snap. I'm pretty sure Lock, Stock. That soundtrack is actually sick as well. There's some sick drum and bass. bangers on there from back in the day. I've forgotten all the word. By uni, we used to rock that out heavy as well. Jack, you got one, mate?
It better be Oasis.
You on mute though.
Jack's like soundtrack to my life.
I'm trying to think, man. I don't know if the soundtrack is probably like not recognizable songs, but one of my favorite films is Layer Cake, boys.
Oh yeah,
my God.
you love it. The
So
shit.
good, yeah.
What's the quote?
So-
Say the quote. No, it's a famous
It's a long
quote.
quote, man. It's a long quote. What, you're born, you take shit.
Yeah. Keep going.
Get a
Say it.
little older, you take less shit. Climb a little higher, take even less shit. And then eventually you're in a rarefied atmosphere where you forgot what shit even looks like. Welcome to
Beautiful.
the Layer Cake, son.
Very good. Did you just do that off the top of your head?
Yeah, I've seen that
Yeah,
film
that was
a lot
impressive,
of times.
bro.
boys.
That's,
That's
very
impressive.
good. Yeah, because I've seen it too, and I was trying to think. I remember, but I just googled it. Why? And you literally.
I
read
think
it
a
out
couple
word for
words
word,
I got off,
pretty
but
much.
an intonation.
Are you recommending that?
The movie has viewing
No,
material,
the
yeah,
soundtrack.
for sure. There's a couple tunes in there. What's the one in the disco? You know, Sienna Miller.
I can't remember.
Hang on, let me just
Life?
pull it up.
No, I
Daniel
dunno.
Craig and Sienna Miller. Apparently, some stuff was going on set. It
Mhm.
jeopardized her
No
marriage
doubt.
to.
Oh damn! Really? Oh shit!
Wait, who she married to?
You got
Really
the
good-looking
love.
guy.
Remember that? That's an
You Got the
iconic
Love,
scene,
that one.
boys. Yeah.
You got the
Ordinary
love, yeah,
World,
classic.
Duran Duran.
There we
There's
go.
there's a couple absolute heaters on there.
What
Kylie
I like-
Minogue, The Cult.
Oh my
Scissor
God! Kylie
Sisters.
Minogue. Scissor. These are
Jeez.
legends. There we go. Yeah.
Oh, let
There's
me
some
hear,
classic
guys. Hold on. Here we
Star
go.
Sailor.
There is a Jude Law, Sienna Miller, Daniel Craig love triangle. There you go, people.
There we go. Okay. Trung's getting his tabloid going. I like it. Perfect.
Oh, this is all part of the
Got a
hacked.
pivot for the algo.
The hacked voicemail, people. Yeah, got a pivot for the algo.
Yeah, completely.
Apparently, Daniel Craig was sending some voicemails to Sienna Miller that Jude Law wasn't too happy about.
Oh, for real? Okay, my guy laying it
Some
down.
horny
putting in that
voicemails.
work. Killing it. Okay.
All right,
All
last
right,
thing.
boys. That
actually,
was good. Go on, Trung.
Last thing, but just because Bilal brought it up, I just read the very first line of the new Hardcore History episode, which I haven't listened to. It was dropped on June 7th. So this is now going to be probably July when we release this. It reads, the episode is titled Mania for Subjugation. And the first line goes, what's the recipe for making a historically world-class apex predator? I'm about to listen to this
Oh, that
right
sounds
now.
good.
Well, we
No, he's
also
a
know the
beast.
answer. What's the recipe for making a historically world-class apex predator? That would be a way to convert electricity into
C4.
into money.
It's like-
What's the apex asset?
You tell me.
Bitcoin.
Oh, there we go. That's it. There we go. That's the way to end the show.
There is no second best. Boys.
There is no second best. All right, boys. That was a good ep. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Like we said, July, we got a few different episodes going live. I hope you guys are enjoying all of these. And we will see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.